Hello, greetings. I am Gilles Mansillon. I come here to continue the reading of my book. It is a rough translation. I wanted to present it as a preview before it's going into print. It will be refined and well illustrated when it gets into print. I forgot first to read the note number 34, note number 39 from the chapter 3. It goes like this: Akashic records, also called Akash or Akashic memories. It is a cosmic library where all of our thoughts, our words, and our deeds are being recorded and are being preserved in this holographic form, so that from the beginning of the universe. This cosmic library may be accessed from certain part of our DNA, and once this quantum function is activated, we can visit and review all of our all the incarnations we have had that have been preserved in this holographic form. The Akash can be accessed from different dimensions, such as the 4th, the 6th, or the 9th dimension. Each level reveals different aspects of the spiritual ascension path. We can note that the Great Pyramid of Thoth, Cheops, is a physical manifestation of that library. Chapter 4. During an interdimensional initiation such as this, when it is the first time a group travels with me interdimensionally in a conscious way, I often choose to bring the group back on the Earth, in the Earth's reality rather quickly, and to undertake only a short trip the first time, usually after 20 or 30 minutes. It is of course possible to stay longer if we desire, with more experienced groups. In the first experience such as this, I always choose to bring back the group rather rapidly in order to facilitate the understanding and modalities of this that are associated with this process of interdimensional process, and in order for integration for the beginner, as well as to facilitate the exiting and reintegrating of their physical body. Then I ask each participant to share his or her experiences that they have felt, seen, heard before undertaking another journey. I often find that when people are not used to such interdimensional practices, they may feel tired when coming back, depending on their physical condition or their psychosomatic state. After a first trip, I always organize another expedition, and it is then possible to return to the sphere or the dimension already visited, or to choose another one. Since the dimension exists outside of time, I often find that time flies a lot faster in such a higher plane than in a linear time on the Earth, or the opposite sometimes, depending on the circumstances. But often it is as if time stands still and moves faster than on this awakened Earth reality, simply because when people are comfortable and in peace, they are comfortable and in peace when they reach such a vibrational frequency. Sometimes people have resistance to return to this Earth reality and hesitate even to reintegrate their physical body. But they always do, because their soul have chosen to be here on the Earth for diverse reasons, and it is here that they will receive the learning and education necessary for their soul growth and evolution. That being said, living on the Earth at this time does not in any way precludes the fact of having an interdimensional existence, because in fact we have been created divinely perfect, and we are already multidimensional beings. We are in truth vast entities, and we are only concentrating a very small part of ourselves in this physical experience. This to say that we are not our physical body, but vast energetic beings of light that have a potential that is equal in frequency to that of the source within us, or that of the creator of all beings and all things. We did not receive the proper education that would allow us to fully enjoy that potential or that lifestyle, and we have not yet been informed of such potential at a very young age in order to enjoy the benefits and joy that this knowledge could bring to us. But we had planned it this way, and we knew that we could return to the light at the end of time, note number 42, at the end of time, At the end of time, not 42, end of time, prophetic moment that marks the end of a society in duality and the beginning of a new age of peace, concord, and wisdom. Now that the cosmic clock is ringing, the so long waited moment has come for our return to full consciousness, and it is getting closer day after day. We keep turning that cosmic alarm off, saying, no, 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 please let me sleep a few more moments. Again and again, the alarm keeps on ringing with more and more intensity each and every day. Those deep things may be difficult to grasp or to understand, but the simple fact that you are reading this book is already a sign of your willingness to embrace such potential, and should assist and inspire you to seek out to develop or deepen your own personal power of creative spirituality. This, I am certain, for the greatest pleasures of your guides and angels who always have been guiding you and inspiring you from behind the scene to that effect ever since the day of your birth. Without, for most people, any awareness of their presence or their action on your behalf. In more advanced civilization, those essential things are being taught to children at a very young age, and they are then able to practice those ideas as well as many others very early on in their life. They learn those processes in order to maximize the quality of their existence right from the start and continue to develop their talent and abilities throughout their whole life. They learn to deepen their relationship to the subtle planes of reality, and that even if they are living in a material reality such as ours. Having received this information very early on in their life, they free themselves from being limited to a linear existence. In advanced civilization, children are being taught that their true nature is love and light, and that almost nothing is impossible to them. They are able to learn by experience that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and we are able to develop a principle of harmony within to integrate even more love, more light, and more spirituality in their own life. Those evolved beings are living to discover that we are all one, and that to do good to others is to do good to others. To do good to others is to do good to ourselves, and so to discover that to hurt another is to hurt ourselves as well. The beings of those advanced civilizations are also able to develop their psychic power, note number 43, to a very high level, to accomplish things in their daily lives that would appear to us as miraculous, incredible, or even impossible in our present stage of evolution. Note number 43, psychic power. It is powers such as empathy, telepathy, precognition, retrocognition, clairvoyance, clear audio, telekinesis, levitation, invisibility, the power to dematerialize, to teletransport, to teleport, remote viewing, knowledge of past existence, knowledge of other people's thoughts, the power to manifest in different places in the same time, to be able to change form or material appearances, etc. To return to our initiation, it is possible sometimes that one person in the group is not ready to do such a thing, and so to hang on to his seat, he or her hang on to his seat, and when the time of the lift-off arrives, that person resists the experience, not wishing to let go and follow the line and the flow of energy that is used for the transportation. If the energy source that is used is strong enough, when it is opened, this one participant, if one participant is not ready, he or she will not be able to stay within the energy circle and will have to leave the room or the vessel, so that he or she will regain only her comfort and inner equilibrium, so that he or she may regain his or her comfort and inner equilibrium. Although this is without any real danger, it is always preferable that all participants may be clear in their intention when choosing to undertake such a journey. When we have the intention to teletransport into another dimension, having an intention to teleport into another dimension is enough to get to get an experience. But if we make a precise statement of intention before the trip, we will get much more precise result. Another reason to bring the group back rather rapidly when the participants are not experienced is because some of the people could have a tendency to fall asleep when being exposed to such high energies. It is true that the dream is a form of interdimensional travel, but in dreams we are rarely able to go beyond the astral plane, note number 44, of the fourth dimension, or to live with a very specific plan of experience, destination or mission, as we are able to do during those journeys. I wish to make a note about dreams about the dreams we have when we fall asleep, and to say that it is possible to ask our guardian angel to help us with a conscious planification of our dreams. But those requests have to be made with great precision and clearly expressed before going to sleep, so that they may be efficient in order for us to wake up the next day with the desired experience. Note number 44, astral planes. Those are regions that are known as the domains of dreams, possibilities and probabilities. But they also serve as the realm of transition between the realm of physicality and the higher realm. There are an enormous difference between the lower astral plane and the upper astral plane, or in other words, between our brightest dream and our darkest nightmare. Many possibilities will open to us once we are able to establish ourselves on the upper part of that dimension, or in other words, when our dreams and emotions are for the most part positive and bright. The upper part of the astral plane of the fourth dimension is the entry point into the multidimensional matrix of the fifth dimension. Return to my reading. After the first initiation journey, and when the whole group has reintegrated their physical body, once they have returned to the earth plane in the physical universe, they are able to use this first experience just acquired to become more able and conscious in order to be more open to the interaction with the energy personalities they are meeting in those other dimensions, as well as with the energies of their guides and angels. The first time you undertake such an adventure will only give you a foretaste of what is ahead of you if you choose to persevere in that direction, or simply in your inner works, no matter what technique, method, discipline you choose, and that works for you. No matter what technique, method, or discipline you choose, and that works for you, when it comes to voyages such as those, it is by practicing again and again that the experience becomes more and more vibrant, more and more alive, and more interesting. It is important to always approach those spiritual experiences without preconceived ideas. When it is the first time in another dimension, it is preferable not to anticipate anything at all. It is common that the first time the experience may be limited to a single vision, a deep sensation, a vision of a bright color or familiar image. When it is the first time on such experience, the experience depends on your ability to be present in a moment, on your level of receptivity and your ability not to try to control the experience or the vision. But it is inevitable that this vision will expand and grow the more you practice such interdimensional exercises. It is important to note that when we begin in that process, it is necessary to always return by the same path we have used to live, so that we don't suffer from psychic dysfunction by leaving fragments of ourselves floating in the universe. If the experience is limited at first, it is simply because we have not yet opened our visual and audition senses to their extrasensory potential and not yet sensitive to the frequency of those other dimensions. It is preferable then to give ourselves the necessary time to get accustomed to it, and for that process to unfold progressively and naturally, and for the process to unfold progressively and naturally, it needs to be slow and progressive so that we may get accustomed to those new sensory perceptions and learn to live with them. It is necessary to say that embracing the true spiritual way of living cannot be a part-time job. It is a way that leads us to discover true happiness, true joy and serenity, but there is no half-hearted decision in following the ways of the heart. After practicing those interdimensional space travel journey for a while, the experience becomes deeper, the vision becomes more intense, the color more clear, and progressively telepathic communication is becoming possible. After even more practice, the experience becomes even more clear, and it is then possible to have telepathic conversation with the beings who are living in those dimensions. Those planes of reality are then becoming just as real as those we are experiencing here on the earth in an awakened state. When traveling to such other worlds, we come to see and discover marvels and beyond our imagination and beyond all linear descriptions. During those voyages, we encounter the beings who are residing on those planes, as well as our guides who are always traveling with us, but often stay out of the way in order not to interfere with our experience. When we come back to this Earth dimension, we are always bringing back with us a part of an energy with us that when we come back to this Earth dimension, we bring back with us a part of that energy, and a material reality is always being affected positively by the energy. Those energies of the higher spiritual planes, the higher light, the higher love, always have a powerful impact on our material existence, on our physical body and reality due to the interaction with the higher planes of reality. It is obvious that this sort of exercise will not give you magically instant and permanent access to the higher planes of the universe, but it will give you a foretaste of what is ahead of you if you choose to follow the way of ascension into the light. I invite you to follow the instruction I invite you to read the instruction that will follow in order to experience that for yourself, because that will be the best way for you to understand what I am discussing here. Once we have familiarized ourselves with that discipline, we can use it as a true source of inspirations. Those trips are then perceived in like a very pleasant dream, but with the difference that when we enter those higher realms, it elevates our consciousness and shows us a higher reality of being. Once we have become sensitive and receptive to those higher dimensions, it becomes possible to interact with those worlds and with the beings we are meeting there in a more fully conscious fashion. Action in those dimensions are always being conducted mentally or through our astral body, eventually through our soul. We can say that this process is usually to receive, but also to share and to create. The beings of the higher planes are also learning through our contact and from those exchange, although at first the energy seems to be going unilaterally in our direction. It is a way to receive knowledge that is very personal, essential to our evolution within the time cell we are existing right now. To open up to our spiritual nature and enlightenment, is a process that is slow and constant in terms of the higher flow. It is a gradual process that will only proceed at its own pace and rhythm, notwithstanding the fact that sometimes we would wish it to go faster. In truth, it is our higher self that is conducting the flow of our life, even if most people are not aware of this or would have a tendency to fight against the flow of their own creation. In other words, most people are under the impression that life is happening to them rather than to understand that they are the source of their own life. They are being oppressed by their unconscious creation rather than creating consciously a life that is pleasant and joyful for them to live in. No matter what our choice may be or what we are doing, it is inevitable that we progress along the way that our soul have chosen for this human incarnation. Just like a plant or a tree that we do not see growing, yet with each pulse, each breath is getting closer to the sky. In truth, it is a higher self that controls the flow of our life, but most people... sorry, it's a repetition. In terms of those interdimensional travel, and more generally in the way of spiritual ascension, the most important aspects required are a clear intention, a sincere will to engage with all our heart in the development of our principle of light, love, and harmony that is already within us, and also a constant desire to perfect ourselves, because the best way to know that we are progressing is to perfect our own character, to make sure we are not moving backward by correcting progressively our bad habit and lower behavior patterns. It is not necessary for everyone to seek to become completely pure, but it is important to begin to purify ourselves. That being said, we must understand that God, our Creator, loves us just as we are, and will never judge us for any reason. The idea of a God that stands in judgment of his children for following their life path is a complete aberration. God, as a divine parent, has the responsibility to make sure that each and every soul, without exception, may learn, grow, and evolve. And that is why he or she must let the law of evolution continue its work until the day when we become capable to understand all things of the material plane in order to transcend the program of reality of the third dimension, in order for our consciousness to emerge into a light of the higher planes. Although ascension is an experience that is earned and conditioned by our intention and action, it would be an error of consciousness to believe that there could be anything that we could ever do that would qualify or disqualify us to deserve the love of God. No matter what our thoughts may be about that, about our life, or about others, our Creator will never cease to love us, and the eternal light of truth will always be there for us, even if we choose to continue our existence in duality of the third dimension, and so to forgo the ascension process. That being said, each day is an opportunity that is given to us to progress and to gain ground over our ego self in order to consolidate our personal power by practicing the ways of love and light, and by correcting our negative thoughts and behavior. We will have to face this until we will be fully realized of the fact that we have become master of ourselves, that we have become clear, conscious expression of the highest version of ourselves, and realize the highest divinity of attainment by becoming a free expression of the divine will. Through our own will to progress in that direction, we may hope to eventually remember our sovereign self and become full creator, so living in the dimension that is no longer bound by linear time-space experience in the universe of the third dimension. End of chapter 4. Thank you.